Have you ever felt like you're running on empty, constantly pouring yourself out to fill everyone else's cup? Yet when you look for someone to replenish yours, all you hear is silence. Sound familiar? It's an all too common experience for those who are naturally giving, empathetic, and eager to help others. But here's the hard truth. When you endlessly give without boundaries, you risk losing yourself in the process. This is where the timeless wisdom of Stoicism steps in. A philosophy from ancient times that feels almost tailor-made for today's challenges. Stoicism isn't just about enduring pain or hardship with a stiff upper lip. At its core, it's about strength, balance, and self-mastery. It's about knowing when to say no. Not out of selfishness, but out of self-respect. It's about being kind, generous, and helpful without setting yourself on fire to keep others warm. If this resonates with you, then you're in the right place. But before we dive deeper, let me invite you to take a simple yet powerful action. Subscribe to our channel, Victory in Silence, where we explore transformative ideas to empower your life. Comment below with the words, "I'm deserve," because yes, you truly deserve to prioritize your well-being. And don't forget to share this video with someone who needs it, because together we rise higher. Now, picture this: you're the person everyone counts on, the one who always says yes, the one who fixes problems, big or small. It feels good, doesn't it? Being the go-to person, the helper, the one who makes life easier for others. But have you ever stopped to wonder, at what cost? It's like giving away pieces of yourself bit by bit until one day, you reach for something to give, and there's nothing left. Suddenly, when the tables turn and you're the one in need, you look around and realize you're standing alone. Why? Because you've given it all away. This is where the wisdom of Stoicism becomes a game changer. Thinkers like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus remind us that true generosity starts with self-care. Marcus Aurelius believed that we cannot serve others effectively if we neglect our own well-being. He argued that our inner strength, the garden of our mind and soul, is the foundation upon which we can build a life of meaningful service. Without tending to that foundation, everything else crumbles. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine two neighbors, each with their own garden. One neighbor takes time every day to care for their own garden, ensuring it's healthy, thriving, and full of life. Because their garden is so well maintained, they have plenty of fruits, flowers, and beauty to share with others. The second neighbor, however, is so busy helping everyone else with their gardens that they completely neglect their own. Over time, their garden becomes overgrown, wilted, and barren. Eventually, they have nothing left to give. The lesson here is simple yet profound. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Taking care of your own garden is not selfish. It's necessary, but don't misunderstand. Stoicism doesn't tell us to abandon others. It teaches us balance, sustainability, and wisdom in how we give. When we ask ourselves questions like, is my help sustainable? Or am I looking after my well-being too? We're practicing what Epictetus called the art of responding, not reacting. He famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By learning to set healthy boundaries, by saying no when necessary, and by choosing where and how to give, we create a life where kindness is no longer a burden but a true act of strength and generosity. So, if you've ever felt like you're giving too much of yourself away, or you're curious about how Stoic principles can help you find a healthier balance in life, stick with me. Together, we'll explore how these ancient teachings can revolutionize the way you approach kindness, generosity, and self-care. And remember, if you've made it this far, you're not like the majority. You're part of the few who seek something deeper, something lasting. Don't skip any part of this video. What you're about to discover could very well change your perspective and your life. Plato, one of the towering figures of Western philosophy, championed the idea of knowing oneself, a principle that echoes profoundly in the context of generosity. To know oneself means to recognize our boundaries, our limits, and the wellspring of our strength. It reminds us that true kindness can only emerge from a place of abundance, not exhaustion. A depleted individual, however well-meaning, risks offering hollow gestures instead of meaningful help. In parallel, Carl Jung, a luminary in psychology, once said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." His words encourage us to examine our inner worlds, to ensure that we are not dissipating our energy on endless external demands at the expense of our own well-being. Jung's insight underscores the importance of turning inward, finding balance, and cultivating an internal harmony that allows us to give authentically and sustainably. The Stoics were masters of intentional living. Thinkers like Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus advocated for purity of action, doing the right thing for its own sake, free from the need for applause or recognition. Seneca, in particular, had much to say about generosity. He urged us to give cheerfully, swiftly, and without hesitation, cautioning that there is no grace in a benefit that sticks to the fingers. This imagery reminds us that generosity tainted by ulterior motives or a lingering sense of obligation ceases to be generous at all. Imagine giving purely to see the light in someone's eyes, to bring joy without keeping score or tallying what is owed. This, the Stoics teach us, is the essence of generosity, giving from a place of spiritual abundance rather than material wealth. When we give with strings attached, expecting something in return, we reduce the act to a transaction, and life, in all its depth and richness, is far too profound to be diminished to mere exchanges of goods or favors. This philosophy aligns seamlessly with Aristotle's teachings on virtue. Aristotle argued that true virtue lies in finding joy in the act itself, rather than in external rewards it might bring. To him, the act of giving was its own reward, a reflection of one's character and ideals. Similarly, the Stoics viewed generosity as an opportunity to embody the virtues we hold dear, to act in alignment with the person we aspire to be, regardless of recognition or reciprocity. Carl Jung deepens this idea with his concept of the shadow and the persona. These are the parts of ourselves we reveal to the world, and those we keep hidden. By integrating these aspects, Jung believed we could achieve greater authenticity, recognizing the joy we find in selfless giving and embracing it without shame is a profound act of self-integration. It connects us with our most genuine selves, free of pretense or performance. Epictetus offered another crucial insight. We control our intentions and actions, but not their outcomes. This Stoic teaching empowers us to focus on what we can control: our choice to give, our commitment to kindness, without attaching ourselves to the results. By giving without expectation, we liberate ourselves from the disappointment of unmet reciprocity and the bitterness of feeling exploited. Far from draining us, this approach to generosity enriches us. It cultivates a deep, enduring joy born from knowing that we've made a positive impact, no matter how small, on someone else's life. It transforms giving into a source of strength rather than a burden. In our hyper-connected, always on world, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the endless demands for our time, energy, and attention. The Stoics remind us that saying no is not an act of selfishness but a vital practice of self-preservation. By safeguarding our own well-being, we ensure that we can truly be of service to others when it matters most. Consider the poignant story of a mother who, out of boundless love, did everything for her daughter. She cooked, cleaned, solved problems, and removed obstacles from her daughter's path. At first glance, this might seem like the pinnacle of parental devotion. But over time, it became clear that this excessive help came with unintended consequences. The daughter never learned to navigate life's challenges independently. When her mother was no longer there, the daughter was left adrift, unprepared to face the world on her own. This story illustrates a profound truth. Helping others excessively, without fostering their independence, can hinder their growth. True generosity, as the Stoics teach, lies not just in solving problems for others, but in empowering them to find their own strength and resilience. By setting boundaries, we're not withholding care. We're offering a deeper, more enduring gift. The opportunity for others to develop the fortitude they need to thrive. Marcus Aurelius spoke extensively about self-discipline and the wisdom of understanding what lies within our control. Applying his teachings to the concept of boundaries illuminates a crucial truth. While we can offer support, we cannot, and should not, live others' lives for them. This understanding is not about withholding care, but about striking a delicate balance between offering assistance and enabling dependency. True help uplifts and empowers, whereas unchecked intervention risks becoming a crutch that stifles personal growth and resilience. Seneca, another Stoic giant, placed immense value on self-sufficiency, warning against the dangers of reliance on external sources for happiness or stability. He argued that true contentment arises from within, not from the actions or approval of others. Setting boundaries aligns with this principle. By drawing clear lines, we teach others to tap into their own inner resources, fostering their independence. This practice mirrors Seneca's teachings on happiness as an internal state, one cultivated through wisdom, virtue, and self-reliance, not through external circumstances. Aristotle's concept of the golden mean, the virtuous middle ground between two extremes, applies beautifully to setting boundaries. In the context of generosity and support, it's about balancing our desire to help with the need to safeguard our own well-being. This balance embodies Francis, or practical wisdom, guiding us to make choices that are beneficial not only for ourselves, but also for those we engage with. It is a nuanced act of discernment, ensuring that our actions are not just but genuinely effective and sustainable. Plato's philosophy also offers valuable insights into boundary setting. His emphasis on the well-ordered soul, a harmonious alignment of the rational, spirited, and appetitive parts of the self, finds expression in the act of defining our limits. By articulating what we will and will not accept, we create internal order. This harmony within allows us to approach the world with clarity and balance, interacting with others in a way that reflects our highest ideals without compromising our integrity or inner peace. From the lens of depth psychology, Carl Jung would frame boundary setting as a fundamental aspect of individuation, the process of becoming fully oneself. By delineating where we end and others begin, we protect our psychic energy, preserving the vitality necessary for personal growth and self-discovery. Setting boundaries not only shields us, but also encourages those around us to embark on their own journeys of self-awareness and independence. It's an act of mutual empowerment, a way to honor both our individuality and the individuality of others. Many of us learn through painful experience that being perpetually available can lead to feeling undervalued and taken for granted. It's akin to being an old, reliable car. Everyone assumes it will always start, but rarely considers the maintenance it requires. Without boundaries, we risk becoming a resource others rely on without appreciating. But when we begin to assertively say no, where necessary, a transformative shift occurs. This shift is not merely about refusing requests. It is about affirming a profound respect for our time and energy. Marcus Aurelius would call this an act of self-respect. He famously remarked, "It's not the actions of others that disturb us, but our judgments about those actions." In this context, choosing to set boundaries reflects a judgment that our peace and well-being are paramount. Declaration that we prioritize what truly matters. Seneca offers wisdom that dovetails seamlessly with the act of setting boundaries. He taught that true freedom comes from being the master of oneself. By deciding when and how to say no, we exercise this inner freedom, demonstrating that our energy is ours to allocate, not something to be dictated by the demands of others. Epictetus would remind us that we cannot control how others perceive our boundaries, but we can control our decision to set them. This focus on what lies within our control empowers us to act with intention and integrity. Plato, through his theory of forms, might argue that the ideal form of helpfulness is not synonymous with limitless availability. Instead, it's about offering support in ways that are sustainable and respectful of our own well-being. Jung's psychological framework reinforces this idea, emphasizing that marking our limits is a necessary step in defining who we are in relation to others. Boundaries become an essential tool for maintaining psychological health and fostering authentic relationships. When we set boundaries, we send a powerful message to the world. I value my time and energy, and you should too. This declaration doesn't make us less caring or helpful. On the contrary, it allows us to give more meaningfully, without resentment or exhaustion clouding our intentions. Boundaries are transformative, not only for us but also for those around us. They subtly teach others to respect our time and energy, fostering a culture of mutual respect. Relationships become healthier, more balanced, and more rewarding when built on a foundation of shared understanding and clearly defined limits. Far from being a sign of weakness or selfishness, setting boundaries is an act of profound self-respect. It is a testament to our recognition of our worth and a necessary step toward building relationships that honor both our contributions and our limits. By valuing ourselves, we teach others to value us as well. This shift, this deliberate reorientation of how we engage with the world, not only amplifies our sense of self-worth but also cultivates a deeper respect from those around us. It's as though by honoring ourselves, we send an unspoken message. We are valuable, and so is the space we occupy. This profound act of self-respect ripples outward, touching everyone we interact with. When we reflect on the wisdom Stoicism imparts, its teachings on boundaries, kindness, and self-care, we arrive at a transformative realization. This is not merely about protecting oneself from the demands of others or avoiding exhaustion. It's about reshaping the very foundation of how we live and interact. Stoicism, with its ancient and enduring truths, does not call us to retreat from the world or harden our hearts against its challenges. Instead, it invites us to step forward, wiser, stronger, and more attuned to both our limits and our potential. The essence of Stoic philosophy lies in this balance. It reminds us that true generosity does not ask us to pour from an empty cup. It challenges the notion that endless giving is virtuous, replacing it with the idea of sustainable kindness, one where both the giver and the receiver emerge enriched. Marcus Aurelius, in his Reflections, reminds us that our inner peace is not a gift from the world, but a result of our own disciplined choices. Seneca, ever pragmatic, teaches us that to be truly free, we must master ourselves first. And Epictetus, with his razor-sharp focus on control, inspires us to act in alignment with our values, regardless of external opinions. By weaving these principles into our lives, we create a harmony between caring for others and caring for ourselves. It's a delicate dance, but one that ensures we remain present and genuine in our acts of kindness. When we embrace this philosophy, we begin to see that fulfillment isn't tied to outcomes or external validation. Instead, it's rooted in knowing we've acted with integrity, that our contributions align with our values while respecting our boundaries. And then something remarkable happens. We become examples. The way we live, guided by Stoic wisdom and deep self-respect, inspires others. We show them that it's possible to be kind without being consumed, to be generous without being drained, and to maintain boundaries without losing connection. This ripple effect, born of inner peace and deliberate choices, spreads outward, encouraging others to find their own balance. As we draw this exploration to a close, we're reminded of the true beauty of Stoicism. It's not a philosophy of withdrawal, but of profound engagement. It teaches us to create inner sanctuary of calm and strength, a wellspring from which we can extend kindness, generosity, and courage to the world without losing ourselves in the process. This harmony is the essence of a life well lived, a life where wisdom guides our hearts and compassion fuels our actions. Now, as you reflect on these teachings and take them into your own life, I invite you to join me in continuing this journey of growth and discovery. Subscribe to Victory in Silence and become part of a community dedicated to mastering the art of living well. Leave a comment saying, "I deserve," to affirm your worth and commitment to this path. Like this video, and share it with friends who might also benefit from these timeless lessons. Together, let's inspire and be inspired, navigating life's complexities, wisdom, courage, and boundless hearts. Thank you for being here, for sharing in this moment of reflection and growth. This is not the end, but the beginning of living with purpose, guided by the enduring wisdom of Stoicism. Let's move forward, empowered and connected, as we walk the path of resilience and serenity.